Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Earth Day. I wanted to, check in with you guys, see how your seeds and startups have been going. These are mine. These have been going for about 3 weeks, I'd say. And so I just wanted to kind of make sure everyone's was going all right. And if you guys are having any problems, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me an email, and we'll try to work through those. Like I said, I have the fluorescent lights, but yours should be fine in the window. So I hope you guys are using your plug trays. I also wanted to show you that another opportunity we have to grow is from our kitchen scraps. Right here is some celery that basically all you do is put it in water basically up to there, and before long you'll be growing your own celery. I thought that was kind of a cool way to stick to our zero waste kind of idea with this whole project. Here's some artisanal lettuce that I'm doing the same thing with. Pretty cool. I'm excited to try that out. But I'm also really happy to be around all my growing plants right now. It makes me happy, it makes me feel good, seeing all this life flourish in front of you. I hope you guys are kind of witnessing the same thing too. But on a more serious note, we need to start the actual construction of our sculptural wall gardens. So I hope you guys have been collecting all of your plastic, and I've been learning a lot of lessons as I've been kind of experimenting with mine. And I got a couple cool ideas that I'd like to show you guys now. And let's hop over to the tool bench and get working. So, at home, we've been collecting all of our bottles, not putting them in the recycling so we can kind of use them for this project. And I've been realizing as we've been collecting and starting to build with these, that if you're able to work with similar bottles, they become kind of a modular puzzle piece. They can kind of assemble in a variety of ways. So I encourage you to think about that, about like if there's a juice or a drink or a food product that you buy, continue buying that same one, just to try to get the same container. I think it looks a little nicer in the end if it's going to be something that you're going to live with in your home or your backyard. So that's a little something that I kind of started thinking about as I was making this, and I'm going to continue to kind of buy the same type of bottle to finish my next project that I'm working on. But right now you can see that I've kind of blended a couple designs we were talking about in school with a self-irrigation system. If you can kind of look into this as water would be poured into the top, it's going to percolate and kind of trickle down through each one of these little caps that I've drilled holes into. So it's kind of an efficient way to use the water. It's a little easier to maintain. And that's kind of like along the lines of all the vertical wall gardens, is that type of efficiency. So this is something I'm playing around with, and why don't you come in a little closer so I can talk about a detail on this. So basically the measurement from the top of the bottle cap to the next bottle cap is pretty much the space that you're going to have available to plant something. So it's really not that much room in this specific design. There's about 3 inches of soil, which is enough for herbs and lettuce. And mainly I was kind of being focused on a lettuce garden for this particular one. So it'll work for that. But keep that in mind because it's specific to the type of plant that you're planting and how much soil depth it needs. So do a little research and figure that out before you commit to a design. That's an important part of the pre-planning to make this a successful project. And you can see I've kind of connected these with zip ties. I used a little wire too. You could literally use anything you have in your home to make these connections happen. And I also took a X-Acto knife and kind of cut out my little window. Make sure you make that window large enough to actually, get your hand in there, put soil, have the plant come out, because the plant's actually going to grow outside of this whole system. And if you're lucky, you won't even be able to see any of this because you'll have such a lush garden that it'll be blocking the view of any of this plastic. And as far as hanging these, that'll be something that you might need to kind of figure out a little bit more custom for exactly what your system is. I simply took a hanger, metal hanger, and bent it into a little hanging position and kind of bent it in there. And let's take a look at another one I made with a similar idea, But I was really thinking about that spacing that I was mentioning as far as how much room the plant has to grow. And I thought, gee, how can I space these out a little bit more? So instead of doing this nesting kind of idea of locking all these things together, using that modular shape to my advantage, I spaced them out a little bit more here. And I created kind of a link out of that same iron or same hanger wire. And basically it's kind of, you know, used to hold these things together. And there is kind of a little trick that I wanted to tell you so you can make all of these clips the same size. So depending on how long you make these, that's how much room your plant is going to have to grow. So you can kind of control exactly what plant you want to grow in here, and it's not dependent upon, you know, the size of the bottle really. So a nice little tip just to measure these all out so they are all the same, because this hangs nicely when they're all cut to the same, is just using these visual markers as a way to get a similar length on all these. So when I go to fold my little ear over on this, I'm just using the actual width of the pliers as a spacing, and I'm bending it. And then I can do that to the other side, and I can use that same exact measurement, and then I'll be able to kind of control everything a little nicer. And those are just some kind of like little subtle ways that this whole project can be a little easier. But then I can make like 20 of these that are all the same size because I've used a system to make all the measurements the same. But this one's particularly cool because it is built in this way, so it actually hinges. Is that kind of interesting? So I kind of started to think about this for all those ideas of the plastic monster that we were thinking of building. Would those be like cool tentacles or, you know, fingers on something? But I thought that'd be pretty neat for the planter. And you can see on this one, I did the holes a little differently. I was thinking about the aesthetics a little bit more. And I simply took a cap and I traced that with a marker. So I had the same, you know, circle all the way around. And I used that same X-Acto knife and I cut those out. And one more time, I went ahead and drilled holes in the caps so those could be perforated. And I'll show you how to do one. But, you know, I was a little concerned that some of my other videos were a little too long. So I wanted to kind of shorten this one up and make it a little bit easier to grow. So I'm going to drill like 5 holes in this. So I just wanted to show you guys kind of a cool visual on how that watering system works. So come in here and take a look. It's kind of pretty easily visually explained. You can see how the water's kind of flowing from one to the next to the next. And it's all kind of moving through really nicely. So I'm happy and I'm motivated at this point to move forward thinking that this is going to work pretty well.
Okay.
So we have our soil. All right, we have a little mix here. I'm going to take like just something I can get the material in. It might be the spoon. All right, mix that around a little bit. Now, do we need to wet this down a little bit before, or it's just good to go now? I think it's all right to go now because we're going to wet it a little bit as we go. This is the fun, messy part. So I have my little tray underneath all of this. So I'm not making too big of a mess. But that's getting to be kind of what I think is the right amount there. And then I'm just going to work my way up. And through the magic of editing, I'm going to be done. All right, and there we have it. So that's starting to look pretty good to me. It's not too heavy, but I did want to point out this point in time. I was mentioning, you know, the size or the length of these little clips. That can change the whole ratio and size you have available to you to plant. So if you wanted to really use this whole container, you would just make longer little clips, and that would allow you to plant directly into there. And you possibly don't even need this hole. You could just kind of let the plant grow out of the top of that if it was spaced far enough. So it could be a simpler way to work, a little easier, and you could grow more bigger stuff with it. So I think we're ready now to put our little lettuce sprouts in there. Okay, so I'm at the point where I'm ready to drop in my little salad sprouts. And I have a little spoon here. I dug out a little hole where my little babies will go. And let me go see if I can grab some right here. All right, I got 2 little sprouts here. I'll maneuver those guys in there. Oh, they have their new little happy home here. And, you know, that's pretty much it. We'll make sure they're in there. Whoop. These things should probably go down to the point where their leaves start to grow out from their stalk. So it might take a little bit of finagling. And then you pack it in one more time. There we go. So I'm going to do that all the way down. And then I'm probably going to add a little bit of water to it. All right? Take a look. We have all our little lettuce sprouts planted in our beautiful little wall garden made out of our orange juice bottles. And let me tell you what, I'm excited to see this now. You know, I've been working on this for a couple days and it's finally coming into shape, coming into fruition. So we're going to do our little water test now. This is the first time I've kind of dampening the soil. I'm not sure how long it's going to take once the whole soil's in there. But this is really the whole practice of the vertical garden. Well, she's taking her time. You know, but this is a bunch of fun. And I just want to like highlight that this is all about learning. This is all about, you know, trying something new. And if you don't succeed the first time or you think you mess something up, just go with it and take notes. And next time we do it, you know, we'll learn those lessons and we'll put those into place. But, you know, I'm going to keep working on a new design I have going on. And I'm going to show you that in my next video. And I hope that maybe this has inspired you to try this design or something similar. But keep collecting all your plastic material in your home and finding a new use for it. Especially on, you know, Earth Day. That's what it's all about, is, you know, growing new life and reuse, reduce, and recycle. You know, this is a perfect kind of project for the zero waste, leave no trace theme of our whole class. So let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you've tried something. Share your photos with the rest of the people doing this project. And I'll see you next video. You guys stay safe out there. See you later.